Madam Clerk, you want to do roll call and declaration of conflicts, please?
Councilmember Abram.
Here and none.
Councilmember Vixel.
Here and none.
Vice Mayor Menez.
Here and none.
Councilmember Phillips.
Here and none. All right, approval of the agenda as posted or omitted.
Approved as posted. Motion to,
Second.
Motion in 2 seconds?
Councilmember Abram.
yes.
Councilmember Vixel.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Menez.
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips.
Yes. All right. And it looks like we have a appointment for members to the boards.
So, Madam Vice Mayor, I need to make a motion to amend this. I've been nominated to be the alternate for the StanCog, but unfortunately due to scheduling conflicts, I will not be able to serve in that role.
Okay. Is there a second for our motion? Second. Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Abram.
Yes.
Councilmember Vixel.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Menez.
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips.
Yes.
Mayor Bublak.
Oh. It's okay. I know you were just testing me. That's quite all right. Okay, so that state, for tonight's vote, Madam Clerk, that seat will stay vacant for the alternate. Understood. All right, at this time, we have public participation. Pursuant to California Government Code 54954.3, this portion of the meeting is set aside for members of the public to address their elected officials on matters that are not listed on tonight's agenda, but that are within our subject matter jurisdiction. And I have a few cards to get us started, so how about we hear from our wonderful librarian?
Good evening and happy new year. Oh, how's that? Okay.
Better.
Okay, well, good evening and happy new year. It's good to be back and to see everybody's faces. And first off, I do want to thank everybody for shopping local this holiday season because, as I always say, shop local, you support our local businesses, our community, and most importantly, the library. So thank you for that. That 8th of a cent does many wonders in our community. I always say December, January is our slow time where we get to settle and catch up on things and plan. That has not been the case, so it's a good problem to have. We were slow for a week. So we've been surprisingly busy. We've been issuing a lot of new cards. A lot of people have been moving back to Turlock. A lot of people are rediscovering the library. So it has been wonderful. Story time is back. We do it Thursdays at 10 and 11 for our kind of a 3 to kinder age or preschool age. And then we also have our Wiggle Rooms programs on Fridays from 10 and 11. That is our kind of our baby toddler time. We really emphasize reading to your children at a young age, getting them ready for school. We do kind of early math in there as well. We want our kids and our community to be fully prepared to start school. And so we figured the younger we start them, the better prepared they are. But, so I know not everybody has kids, we also offer all kinds of services. So we have free faxing, and I just want to share that out just because every now and again somebody does require faxing or scanning to email. We do that, it's completely free. We are always shocked when we hear about some of the prices that the bigger businesses charge, but again, not very people need it, so they do need to recoup those funds, but it's completely free. It's already paid for with your tax dollars. We want to spread the word so people do utilize that service. We also have mobile printing, so you can print from your phone, you can print from home, and just pick it up at the library. It's a service called Print, like the Grinch, but with a P. All the information is on our website. Just look for mobile printing. All the information is there. Printing is pretty affordable with the library card. You get 2 black and white prints for free. And then it's 10 cents a page after that. And then color copies are 25 cents, which is, we are by far the cheapest in town. So please utilize the services because you've already paid for it, is what I've said. So come visit me, come hang out at the library. We're busy and we're open. So thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Bates, come on up, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Brad Bates. From my prior affiliation, people think I know things, and I don't. So tonight I'm going to ask you guys a question that I've been asked. And basically, I would like to make a request. The request is that you put on a future agenda an item under staff reports, an update and the status on the Montana Avenue Park project. Now, I realize that a citizen cannot make this request to put an item on a council agenda, so I guess my specific request would be for Vice Mayor Moniz, this is in her district, to make this request. Has said many positive things about the value of this project to the west side, particularly the youth of the community. So very quickly, a recap. The two phases of the project were initially announced in a groundbreaking in 2016. And then the park was designed in about 5 separate community meetings in 2019. In 2023, a second groundbreaking was held for the phase 2 portion of it. Senator Marie Alvarado Gill attended and announced that they had $2,821,000 of funding from the 2018 Community Park Bond. Supervisor Vito Chiesa was there. Vito said that he had secured $200,000 of discretionary county funds. So that was a pretty good day. It sounds like a little over $3 million of committed non-local funding. The park project phase 2 is listed on the 5-year capital improvement project from what I can tell. And there is proposed funding of, again, I'm just looking at what was online, $1,165,000, but it doesn't indicate whether that funding is budgeted or approved. I did not see that Montana Park was listed under the section of capital projects for 2026. So in some earlier conversations with city staff, I've been told that the project is underway, but that from my understanding, there is not at this point a specific timeline or a start date. And it's not clear to me what the city's portion of the funding, what that status is, whether that is budgeted or committed. So I guess I'm just asking, because I've been asked by a number of people. We're coming up on 10 years since this project was initially announced. My specific request would be to request to have a council member or the vice mayor request an agendized item with some specifics about the funding status, the final designs, the timeline, and just basically the construction project itself, and maybe sometime this year a completed project. I've got 16 seconds left and some quotes, but I'll just say I think you all understand, this project is supported, from the state to the county to local, and so I think it would just be nice to know exactly what the game plan is. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anush? Did I say your name right?
Pretty close. It's okay.
Give it to me.
It's Anish.
Anish, thank you.
So good evening. My name is Anish Heitman-Siegel, and I have lived in Turlock for over 30 years. Over the last 2 months, I apologize if I get emotional, but this is, I'm kind of feeling pretty desperate. In the last 2 months, I've had to witness my neighbor's dog, a Siberian Husky, leave its property and attack and kill a neighborhood cat twice since November, for the November 8th. Both times, my family has contacted animal control, and basically we've been told that there's really not much that can be done. There are young children that live and visit the court. There are small dogs and cats that live on the court. Many of us are now afraid to use our front yards. The owners seem to be incapable of containing and controlling this dog. They've admitted that to me. If one of my human neighbors left their property and killed a cat in front of witnesses, they would be arrested and put in jail or a psych facility. This dog has killed other animals in front of witnesses twice with essentially no consequences. Why do we have a higher standard for removal of a vicious dog than we do for a person? It really feels like the rights of this aggressive dog matter more than the rights of the rest of the neighborhood. As an animal lover, I ask you to review your animal control policies to protect all animals and people living in Turlock. My husband has reviewed the policies, and they're vague and confusing, and they really don't answer the problem that we have going on our very quiet court. It seems like something more that can be done for us than for us just to have to live in fear waiting for the next attack. And who knows how bad that could be. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I don't have any other cards. Is there anybody else wishing to speak on items that are within the city's jurisdiction but not on the agenda this evening? Sir, come on up. I'll get you next.
My name's Tom Mickelson, and I've been a resident of Turlock for 40-some years. My subject is, I'm assuming the city wants to have a reputation for being transparent and fair and open and concerned.
Mr. Mickelson, is this, I'm sorry to interrupt, is this about the speed bumps?
Related,
Okay.
but it's about the process.
Okay, that item's actually on our agenda, so we're going to pull that item so that we can speak on it when it's
Okay.
time to run the consent calendar.
Fine.
Okay? Ms. Jackson, I think you had your hand up. Come on up.
So bear with me. Actually, good evening, everybody. Happy 2026. And that's kind of why I'm up here. I think there's a lot of negativity going on in 2025. And so something that we're trying to do, at least on another board I'm on, is to be more positive and to highlight our positive things that are going on. And so I'll start quickly with thanking Ms. Borrego for coming to the We Care Open House back on December 4th, as well as Mr. Bridegroom came, a couple of school board members, and members of the public. And so you all, if you could, I know there was another event that evening, but if you haven't been there, you're allowed, please come. And I think that's something that they plan to do more often. And so some of the positive things I've seen, we have friends that used to live here in Turlock, and they were actually visiting when the sand truck came by, and they were just floored that happens. I'm like, you lived here for 5 years. Do you not remember the sand truck? And they did not. So I really wanted to thank, and in fact, the Santas, it's Frank, and Frank was when we were at the We Care shelter, and it's just, I don't know why, but SANTA can actually bring so much joy to people, even adults. And so the men came out running. I know that they went to the gospel mission. It was Paul and then Bradley also were playing SANTA. But it's just so small town goodness and wholesomeness that it needs to be discussed. And I'm very appreciative that they do that. It's all volunteers. They pay for it themselves. And so, and I'm finding hopefully I'm almost close to 12:04. Anywho, so it's those kind of things that we have to keep talking about. And I think for those of you that haven't been, I know that we can come up with solutions. One thing I was going to talk about is I was in Davis at the first part of December I was in Sacramento for a conference. Davis has a 4-story homeless shelter. The first story is for, I believe, families. One story is for men, one story is for women, and one story is for couples. If they can do it, we can do it. And so I'm really hoping, I actually found it, that we can start doing these kind of things. The Christmas parade was amazing. I think getting everybody down there and getting everybody out is amazing. The one thing is, if you had bathrooms, just let people know where they are, as a huge thing. And I'd also like to thank everyone. Just try to look for the good. But I think, a year ago, or it's almost a year, it'll be 11 months, we asked for a plan for the homeless situation. It's been 11 months. It would be hopeful. I have lots of ideas because there are lots of people that are living in their cars, living in parking lots, living at the parks. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak? Come on up.
Alrighty, good evening, Vice Mayor,
You're always
Council.
so happy.
Oh yeah, it's been a good break for me. So, hey, my name's Karthik Prasad here on behalf of Congressman Adam Gray, and Happy New Year. I hope the holiday season was as relaxing for everyone here as it was for me. And we have been quite busy, and already have some pretty good news to report from DC, which I know is a shock from everyone. Good news from DC. That's insane, right? But to start things off, on January 8th, the House of Representatives passed a 3-year extension to the Affordable Care Act's tax credits, which is going to prevent healthcare costs from skyrocketing for members of our community. And while it's a little short of the Congressman's own legislature, the Protecting Patient Care and Lowering Healthcare Costs Act, it's still a huge legislative win for us, and it's in no small part thanks to the Congressman's efforts to foster bipartisanship in the House and work together on this issue, because it's a big one that's going to affect a lot of folks here. And the fact that we're really able to get it through the House is a pretty big win. So it's now heading over to the Senate, where, while it's unlikely to pass without some significant changes, we're pretty confident it's going to get through, and we're going to be working with the Senate to make sure that this passes before costs start to go up for folks in our community. Aside from that, the Congressman's co-led the introduction of the Precise Act, which makes loans more available for precision agriculture technology, and has co-sponsored H.R. 4585, the Agriculture and Rural Road Improvement Program, which would dedicate existing highway funds to improve roads and bridges on rural roads and minor collectors, and it would total nearly around $1.5 billion over 5 years under current spending levels. So we've been pretty hard at work, and going forward, our biggest legislative priority is to help lower costs for our constituents. If any members of the board, of the city council, or anyone in the community present here know anyone who's being impacted by raising costs, don't hesitate to send them our way to our office. We're at 602 West 20th Street in Merced, and they can give us a call at 209-226-6880. So with that, Happy New Year, Council, and
you.
I'll see you next month.
You got it. Anybody else before I close public comment? Okay, I'm going to close public comment. Dr. Brego, I'm happy to ask for an update on Montana Park, because we got so much good stuff happening out there. If maybe we can get that on a February agenda, that would be great. And I think that takes you right into your reports, ma'am.
We'll get the update. Happy New Year. For me, some of you know I have 9 grandkids. 8 are boys, so the holidays were fun and wild. Yeah, the oldest is a girl, but she can take them all. And one of the things about my report that I try to say, and I appreciate what Ms. Jackson just said about the positive things. So many things that go on in the city you never really know about, right? You hear about the ones when they don't go well sometimes, and you don't hear so much. So I just want to tell you a few things. One, the senior center has been something we've spent a lot of attention on in these meetings. Regular programming will resume tomorrow. While the roofing work is finished, all the HVAC units were replaced and set today, and I appreciate the work of Chris's team at getting that all done. Another issue, Turlock Transit was recently ranked among the top 3 agencies worldwide in the Transit App Writers' Choice Awards in the Ghost Busters. That recognizes agencies with the fewest missing buses. Doesn't that give you pause? This reflects the department's strong commitment to reliable services. And if we have any questions about that, we could address them to Chris. Not to you, not to me. I just love Ghostbusters. We have a few things coming up, activities and events coming up. And I will pass right over those because I don't have that list in front of me. I do want to take a minute to talk a bit about the City Housing Division Services. That's another one of those areas that gets little attention until things don't go right. A year ago, there was a new director that came to be in that position. The city has thought for some time that we need to be out of the business of being homeowners. We have owned 7 houses for some period of time. There were a series of files that were inactive files in that office. So the staff down there has spent this last year cleaning that up. To date, 3 of the 7 properties required rehab, all done. All the others have been maintained. We transferred 2 properties to a nonprofit agency to provide affordable rental housing for 30 years. Something the city doesn't, or that people don't know, is that we've had several properties that we've transferred, we rehab them, transferred to different NGOs that then, or not NGOs, nonprofits, that then rent them out for people at affordable housing. We sold 1 city-owned property to a first-time home buyer. We were able to give her keys, she and her 16-year-old son, the week before the holidays, and the week after the holidays, they moved into their home. Another city property is in escrow and anticipated to close sometime at the end of the month. 2 properties are in RFP evaluation to be transferred to 2 more nonprofit agencies to be able to provide affordable rental housing. And that's something I think to be really proud of. We have 2 more first-time homebuyer loans. We've updated the policies and procedures to make the process simpler. We've completed 2 owner-occupied rehabs. We have a new mobile home rehab program. You heard the mayor maybe talk about that forever. It took some digging into how do we change the process on that so we can provide rehab opportunities for people living in mobile homes. 2 are being presented to the loan committee this month. There were 136 rehab and first-time homebuyer loans that needed review for monitoring, compliance, and maturity. We have gone through all of those loans. We found that there were 8 out of annual compliance, and after 3 months, due to updated process and part-time staff, we've reduced that now. 15 loans have been reviewed for accurate balance and maturity date verification. Some of what you need to know is that the city used to give these loans that they ballooned at us, about the time you went on Social Security. And we had a number of properties where people were, they lost a spouse, their circumstances changed. They didn't know that they could file for hardship, and we could come back in and work with them on that loans. So that's all work that's been going on, this year. We have a number of events, or I should say events. Nation's Giant Hamburgers opening. They have a ribbon cutting set for Thursday. Barnes & Noble is coming to Turlock. We don't know the anticipated open date, and I know some of you are waited with bated breath. Chick-fil-A construction starts this week. Eat more chicken. So those are some things that are going on around town, and some of the work going on behind the scenes. Thank you.
Thank you. Nations makes the best pie. all the flavors. And a tasty burger. And a tasty burger. Okay, moving on to the consent calendar. I'm going to open the public comment portion of the consent calendar. Members of the public, you're welcome to come up. You have 1 minute regarding any item on the consent calendar if you would like an item to be pulled. So, Mr. Mickelson, I believe you want to talk about 8J. Come on up, sir.
Yes. One of the speed bumps is going to be put in front of my,
Yes.
I think, is the council going to pull the item?
Yes.
Why don't we pull the item so the gentleman gets 3 minutes instead of 1 minute?
Great idea. Great idea.
I'm sorry we're running you up and down.
That's okay. Stay right there, Mr. Mickelson. Is there any other items on the consent calendar that anybody wants to discuss tonight? Okay, I'm going to close the consent calendar public portion. Is there a motion on the consent calendar?
Motion to approve all except 8J, which I request we pull for separate consideration.
Perfect.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Vixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Manoz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes. Okay. Mr. Mickelson?
I live on Berkeley. One of the speed bumps, humps, lumps, whatever you want to call them, is in front of my house. And the test bump created an unbearable noise. I asked the city or the engineer, and have been dealing with Bill Morris and Chris, and was under the impression that they were considering the request to delay the project until there was data showing that the improvements that had already been made were effective. Did they reduce accidents, whatever? They kept me in the dark, didn't tell me that that wasn't a possibility. They were going to go ahead. They've committed to go ahead, and they were probably going to do it without any further input from me. I found out that there was going to be this meeting and this vote. I asked the city manager to have a meeting to discuss the process that kind of, I think was railroaded through. I contend that, or am suspicious that There was favoritism here, one request from one citizen to have the speed bump and one from me to not have it. And to have the process, conclude with me thinking that this is a case of what they call pork, a project for a special interest that you try to push through, without creating a lot of public interest. And that was, evident when I wasn't notified that, this was going on. And one of the things about pork funding at the state and federal level, they like to take that special interest request, unusual, controversial, slip it into what they call a rider, and then the public, doesn't know. It appears that the city, has a similar tactic. You put something on the consent calendar and hope nobody will notice, and Mr. Mickelson will wake up one day, the bump will be there. And, he said, that's wrong. The city is going to be known for being transparent, fair to all parties interested in a project. This shouldn't have happened. So I requested that the project be deferred, delayed, rejected, because it's so controversial.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else wishing to speak on this item? Okay, Councilmember Abram.
Yeah, so Director Fisher, can you maybe fill in a little bit of the gaps of the history on this area and what has been done and the other communications that the city has gotten?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So this area right here, we look at as the corridor. It's kind of unique. We do have areas where there's speed, there's traffic circles, but this area on Berkeley has 3 traffic circles between Monte Vista and Taylor. And historically, we've had a lot of issues with accidents, vehicle accidents. In fact, if you look at that one intersection at Berkeley and Chandler, it's responsible for about 76% of all the accidents of all of the speed circles on that corridor. So when we look at things, we look at obviously speed and as well as the accident history. When we look at the speeds, we have made improvements, but if we look at the speeds, they're typically coming into the corridor about 9 miles above the posted speed limit. And as they move through that intersection, they're, the traffic circle, they're going about double the speed limit. They're just shy, 1 mile an hour shy of speed limits. And that would be the same as, going down Christopherson at about 90 miles an hour. So the speed is typically an issue. Obviously the visibility, we've addressed the visibility of that, but it really didn't do anything to reduce the overall speeds. And we look at those speeds through a software that we have that basically compiles all the data. So it's fair, it's reliable data. The other thing when we looked at it is we want to make sure that, that we are not creating undue burden on all of the other things. So for instance, like first responders, speed bumps, it's your traditional speed bump, the one that everyone complains about. They have a short ramp up, they have a pretty good height, and they jar you. And those were the case in the temporary speed bumps that we had installed on that. And what we learned from the temporary speed bumps is they weren't as effective because they weren't small enough. So the larger cars, as Mr. Mickelson has noted to me in our communications, they were able to go over that. It didn't reduce the speeds by what we expected them to do. And also what it created was people with motorcycles when the wet weather and they're coming up to a sudden change in their speed, their need for speed, they were slamming on the brakes and then they were hitting the plastic speed bumps, and it's creating an undue safety issue just based on the speed of entry in that corridor. The other thing that we also look at is the overall corridor itself. It's real important that we look at where it warrants it. So we look at each individual intersection, we look at the speeds, we look at the crash data history, and we make a judgment on it. And we go through what we call a traffic calming warrant. In all the cases except for the 2 on the entry and the exit to the corridor, it didn't really, it didn't justify adding the speed bumps. And the important thing of that is we're also looking at, does it create undue burden on first responders? And we made that decision to only enter around the corridor. However, these things, or sorry, I lost my train of thought. So that's why we recommended that we put speed bumps in. In this case, improving the visibility improvements, they were helpful. It did not solve the issue of accidents. We've had 3 known accidents since the paint and all the improvements have been installed. We suspect that there's 4. We heard of one the other day that it was disabled a car. And you can tell generally when you walk when you drive through there that the roundabout is being hit by the amount of tire marks on the paint that we have. So that we recommended that the city move forward, with installing the speed bumps. I think I answered all the questions.
So we, in corresponding about this, there's emails that predate me getting here, you getting here. People have been really concerned about this area for a while. And we've had some, concerned citizens that have compiled the accident data, going all the way back to, I'm looking at 2012 right now. So are you saying that city staff has also compiled the data post-January when the striping and temporary hump was added in and was not able to show that there was a significant reduction compared to historical?
Yeah, we looked at the speed data from that, and it's we're comparing a real small data set to a very large data set, so it's really hard to compare. Typically reported accidents are accidents where the vehicle is left incapacitated or there's an injury. What we realized from all of the other data that we received that there was a lot of accidents that were unreported, meaning a single car, meaning they flatten a tire or they drive into the traffic circle and move on, kind of no harm, no foul. So since then, and we are going off of the marks and then historical or what we're being told.
So the other concerned citizens who have provided the information that it seems like it really, accelerated putting the striping in. Have we heard back from them with any feedback? Any other neighborhood feedback?
Yeah, I've heard both positive and negative feedback based on that. I have to say, my experience, I've received more positive feedback than negative. I think the community priority recognizes that intersection is a problem. If I think there's moments, or years past where there's been significant accidents, like large accidents. I think that one year there was a rollover accident. I think the community recognizes that, seeing those things over and over again, that there is a problem there.
Have we looked at any other options to mitigate the problem? I mean, what are other communities doing that without impeding?
Yes, we did. We looked at, through our RMA. We looked at, and they've recommended that, that we install the speed bumps as the best measure, not to, because the traffic calming device is meant to keep traffic flowing. They think then certain cities have added stop signs, and they found that they're completely ineffective and they're almost entirely run all the time, and they actually negate the traffic calming measure themselves. So the other option would be raised crosswalks, and I think it's important to say that, with John Lazar Park going in right now too, that, we look at pedestrian traffic too, and that is the main corridor that's gonna, for that neighborhood, to the east to reach John Lazar Park.
Well, thank you, Director Fisher, for going over all that. This obviously is a problem. This is in my district, and the roundabouts are supposed to be traffic calming, but they're not calming traffic effectively. But I do think that in this process, I have not been able to see the data that you're talking about to my satisfaction. So I would make a motion right now to, put this out to a future date where we can all see that information and, return to this item after staff can do that.
Can you hold on to that motion for a second? I have a couple questions for him.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Thank
Apologies.
you. No worries. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but if memory serves me well, didn't we spend money upgrading or changing the roundabouts to try to slow down the speed of traffic?
We did. We put.
Okay, tell me what happened with that.
Yeah, we went through and we painted. We changed the line structure of it. We put reflective paint on the roundabout himself. We put chevron signs, reflective chevron signs, and also lights on top of those.
And what did that do to the let's say the rate of speed?
It remained unchanged. Yeah.
Okay, and then so you have all this accident data. Okay, And I heard you say RMA, so risk management's involved. Are they the ones that, is our risk management department the one that recommended that the speed bumps go in to mitigate the city's liability?
Yeah, through all of us working together and cooperating.
Okay, and then last question, I think. Of the accidents that we had, are there any fatalities?
There's been one fatality on Berkeley at the intersection of Taylor.
Okay.
Taylor.
Yeah,
That's the first entry
the
point?
first entry point to
Okay. Okay. You have a motion to table?
A motion to table until we can put our heads together with this data a little bit more. I would like to see more.
Mr. Petrolakis, do you need a designation as to which meeting, or can we just say a future?
You can do it either way, table's fine.
Whatever you'd like, ma'am.
Bring it.
It's your motion.
But you want us, make it clear you want us to bring it back.
Yeah, I would motion to table this tonight and to continue it to a future meeting after staff can get more information to the council.
I'd second that.
Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes. Thank you. Moving on, item 9A, final readings. This is the second and final reading of an ordinance amending Turlock Muni Code Title 7. Is anybody up for this, Madam Clerk?
Chris, if there's any questions.
I beg your pardon?
Right, Chris, if you have any questions.
Yes, okay, very good, thank you. Anybody have any questions? No questions for Mr. Fisher? Is there a motion? Oh, yes, I should probably open it to the public, huh? See, this is not my normal job. Sorry, you guys, I'm failing. Let's open it to the public. Anybody wishing to speak on the 9A final reading?
So sorry, I'm Mary Jackson. I didn't introduce myself last time. So this is to limit, I'm just trying to get the bottom line. What is this? It's going to limit the number of smoke shops we have or where they're, I'm sorry. Do you have an item? Oh, sorry. Did you already do that one? Okay, sorry.
Anybody else wishing to speak on item 9A? Okay, closing public comment. Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
Move to approve 9A.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes. And 9B, anybody have any questions for developmental services? No questions. Let's open it to the public. Any members of the public wishing to speak on item 9B, second and final reading for an ordinance amending Turlock Muni Code Title 8? Closing public comment.
Move to approve.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes. Okay. Moving on to item 10A. Miss Adrian Warner, come on up. It's your turn.
So tonight, the item before you is the approval of the annexation to CFD2 of annexation number 40. And it's a parcel map that was to divide some residential property for future development. What our ordinance says in the CFD is that if there is any type of discretionary permit that is for residential property, a parcel map, an entitlement through planning, it does have to annex to the CFD. So tonight is just the public hearing and approval of the proposed annexation for the property at 2831 North Walnut Road.
And Madam Clerk, do I need to open the public comment first?
You'll just go ahead and confirm with me, and then we'll open.
Okay, so I will confirm with the clerk that she has received the documents necessary to continue with the public hearing and the associated resolutions. So, Madam Clerk, can you please confirm that you have proof of publication of the notice of public hearing, the signed waivers and consent forms for the property being annexed, completed and signed ballot, signed certificate of the clerk regarding receipt of property owner waiver and consent form, and the ballot declaring the election results?
So confirmed.
Thank you. All right, the clerk has confirmed receipt of all the required items. Does any of the council members have any questions at this time? Okay, we will open it to the public for comment. Anybody wishing to speak on item 10A? Closing public comment.
Okay. Move to approve item 10A.
Second.
And is that for both resolutions?
Yes, but I can do it separately if you would like it separately, Madam Clerk.
Together's fine.
Okay, move to approve both resolutions.
Councilmember
Second
Abel.
both resolutions.
Councilmember Abel.
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz.
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips.
Yes. Thank you. Passes with a 4-0. Okay, moving on to item 11A. Where's my risk management? There you are, sir. Come on down. And isn't Dr. Lewis here this evening? Yes, he is. There he is. You were hiding from me. I didn't see you all night.
Perils of a bald guy.
Good evening.
Oh, right here, yeah. Good evening, Vice Mayor, members of the council. With me tonight is Jeffrey Lewis, President and CEO of Legacy Health Endowment. We are here to talk about the Person-Centered Care Program. Before Mr. Lewis provides an annual update of the program and talks about his request for additional funding, I'd like to go through a brief overview of the program for those in the audience and at home that are not familiar with the program, and then talk about briefly the city's participation in the program. So the goal of the Person-Centered Care Program is to prevent residents who live at home from being unnecessarily displaced into long-term care facilities or homelessness by providing respite care and homemaker services to them at their home. Eligible seniors and disabled Turlock residents qualify for services that range from respite care, homemaker services, mental health assistance, specialized medical support, food assistance, medication assistance, home modifications, durable medical equipment support, and access to primary care providers through this program. The program aims to provide an added layer of support for families who are caring for aging or chronically ill individuals at home by increasing their access to medical and non-medical resources and services within our community. So the city's participation in this program started in February of 2022. The city had appointed an ad hoc committee to look at homelessness in Turlock. That was in February of 2022. In May of 2022, the city approved a grant of $200,000 using ARPA funding to supplement the $650,000 that was being provided by Legacy Health to kick off the program, to start a pilot program. A year later, in October of 2023, the City Council approved a second agreement in the amount of $400,000 using ARPA funding, and that year period was from October 1st, 23 to September 30th, 2024. And then finally, most recently, in August of 2024, Council approved the most recent $400,000 using ARPA funding. And that program ended September of last year. During that time, before Mr. Lewis jumps into his annual update, I did work with our prior grant writer to look at any state grant funding. She worked with Townsend. Unfortunately, we did not identify any grant funding sources. And I know that Mr. Lewis has looked at alternative funding sources as well. I'll let him talk about that. And then we'll open it up for any questions you may have.
Councilmember?
Good evening.
We'll let Dr. Lewis go first. Okay, just kidding. It's all you.
You sure? It's great to see you. Thank you for the opportunity. Let me follow up on Paul's remarks about funding. So we've successfully run a great program. We've served about 70 seniors just in Turlock. The report I think you've seen reflects on the kinds of people that are being served. But let me talk to you about the dollars and cents first. So not only did we get city dollars, we sought county dollars to no avail. We did seek state dollars to no avail. We get about this close for $600,000 in federal congressional appropriation, and at the last minute lost out. Those things got cut. We had help from both U.S. senators and from California state U.S. senators.
But at the end of the day, the Appropriations Committee ruled differently, and we lost $600,000. We stretched the dollars. We limited the number of hours that people get access to care, and we added another $25,000 last month to the program. So it was supposed to stop in October. We've extended it with some additional stretching here and there, and based on your decision tonight, it'll either continue or it will cease by the end of January. The program serves a group of elderly Americans who live in Turlock and just in Turlock. These are people with multiple chronic disease conditions who are, a half a step away from being either homeless, institutionalized, in a hospital prematurely, or in a long-term care facility. The respite services, the transportation services to physicians, et cetera, other medical suppliers, help these people remain independent. We've got a food assistance program that is unique for it. They get it whatever they may need, and the results are stellar. This is the one program in the United States where a city is partnered with a philanthropy and a for-profit company to provide the services that is really doing something that nobody else is doing. My objective was to extend the funding, with your approval, for one last year, at which point Legacy Health Endowment is now working with another nonprofit provider where we will take over the program, and there will be no further requests for city dollars. I can promise you that. But most importantly, it's really designed to get done in terms of finding additional people. We used to take care of people across our 19 zip codes, which, as you may recall, are in Stanislaus and Merced counties. People don't respond to these kinds of programs. They need the services. I can tell you that we've worked 16 different ways to find people to get them the assistance. They don't like a lot of people coming into their home. That's the first problem. So there's a fear factor. The second problem is if you're not of that national origin, they don't want you in your home. So trying to find someone who's from a specific ethnic group is not always that easy. But the third issue has been the focus on Turlock, because that's where the greatest number of people who've responded to the services have been. And that's why we focus strictly on Turlock. So with that in mind, I'd be happy to take your questions and answer anything you have.
Thank you.
Did you want to go through?
Oh, sure. Sorry.
He was just kidding.
So today we're serving about 69 people, give or take. It sometimes fluctuates higher. Average age is about 76, predominantly women who are enrolled in the program. More than 80% of people report 2 or more chronic conditions, a third of whom have mobility issues, a third of whom are diabetic, and over 90% have 2 additional activities of daily living. That means they need help with transportation, they need help bathing, they need help with food. You name the list, they need help with it. So they have at least 2 of those needs.
Dr. Lewis, can I interrupt you just one second?
Sure.
Is that 69 participants just in the last funding year, or do you have a cumulative unduplicated number?
That would reflect the current, how do I go backwards? Sorry. That's current. So people die, people are hospitalized, people are put in a long-term care facility, so the number will fluctuate, and we continue to help grow the number by increasing various avenues to give people information about the program. Because we're limited to Turlock and we spend time across all the 3 zip codes, it's an education process on an everyday basis. It's no different than trying to say, I got a pharmacy called Tower Pharmacy, you can fill your medications for $2. It's difficult to get people to enroll. It's equally difficult to keep them in the program, because as you get older, there are certain things that happen and people get nervous and they decide, I don't want somebody in my house, which is a classic example. All right. I'll get it. This is just a summary of the, increased mobility needs in terms of self-reported conditions. So you'd see the top four, but top three: cancer, diabetes, impaired mobility. We had one person with impaired mobility. I've used this example before. She's in a mobile home park, severely overweight. We fixed her problem because we got her an electric scooter, and we paid for it. Not out of these dollars, but we paid for it. Now she's mobile, she gets around, she's independent, and she lives in a mobile home park, but she's perfectly mobile, which is the whole objective. In terms of activities of daily living, a lot of these people just need help with housekeeping, just getting around, getting to things, meal preparation, bathing, etc. This is not uncommon nationally. It's just we see more of it as they get older. These kinds of attributes are enhanced. These are caregiver scores. The burden on the caregiver, if you're a child of an aging parent or if you're a spouse or a partner, it goes up and down in terms of what you're able to see and get assistance with. The caregivers the stories are wonderful, the kind of help that they receive. They're delighted with the help that they get. They're delighted to get out of the house for 4 hours. They have that much time to themselves. Loneliness for an individual who lives alone doesn't stop, it just increases. This is an ongoing problem. One of the things that we're looking at now is a old-fashioned, before some of you were born, or in 1970 we had a program in Rochester, Michigan, so you will remember this, called Telephone Reassurance, where seniors were calling seniors to check in on them in the morning and check in on them in the afternoon. We're probably going to, if this continues, we'll implement the same program. That telephone call gives them maybe the only call they get during the day or a knock on the door. And that reassurance also allows us to check, are you taking your meds, to double check on that issue. 41,000 hours of non-medical, time spent with these residents. The average cost is about $1,300 plus a month, as compared to the monthly cost of assisted living, a semi-private room in a nursing home, or a private room in a nursing home. And as you all know, these numbers just go up, they don't go down. The stories speak for themselves. Whether they're a 94-year-old female suffering from Alzheimer's, dementia, we're able to assist by going into the home, helping the caregiver. The same thing for the 65-year-old male who's going through radiation treatment. The other aspect of this that you're not aware of, perhaps, is we also partner with Covenant Care Home and Hospice. We created with Covenant Care Home and Hospice a program called Bridge to Home. So when that person is hospitalized and they're discharged, they gather them up if they don't have anybody at home to make sure that when they get home, they've got assistance with meals, with filling their prescription, et cetera. They're a partner in the process, and with meals. So we use a very specific vendor in the city for meals. I will tell you that that vendor's done a phenomenal job as compared to previous vendors. And we're hoping to expand that meal program further. But I can say to you candidly that we're looking at people who are just getting old. And we live in America, we live in California, and if you're old and middle income, you're not eligible for Medicaid or Medi-Cal in California, you're screwed. You're just paying out of your pocket on an ongoing basis, to a point where there are people in retirement communities, or it could be Covenant Living, it could be Samaritan Village, it could be anywhere. They run out of money. Their money just isn't stretched enough. These services help give them that lifeline, and that's how this program has benefited folks. So, thank you.
So, if you take a look at what the city has put into the program, what is the total number if 300,000 more goes that the city has put in? Is it $1 million or?
Councilmember Bixel, we've put $1 million of ARPA funding into the program so far.
Do you have a rough number of how many people that has touched? And this is going to sound maybe a little bit cold and calculating, but how much money per person are we spending?
Well, if you
I mean,
Assume you've got 69 people in a program and you're spending, what was it, $300,000 last year, or $400,000? $400,000 is just, that's the math. The average cost per person per month is about $1,400, so that's about $16,000 a year per person. That's the cost. And then you take that cost and look at what it would cost for the alternative in assisted living or nursing homes. And those numbers have, your question is right on target. I mean, this is dollars and cents. Am I getting the best value for the dollar being spent? In this case, I would argue yes, because we're keeping 69 people or more over time out of long-term care facilities, or more importantly, out of a hospital emergency room. And that becomes the key factor for us.
If you don't have or qualify for Medicare or Medicaid and you have to put your loved one in a home, that is like an $8,000 or $10,000 a month bill, is it not?
So if you're not qualified for
right?
Medi-Cal, and you're a middle-income family, so you're on Medicare, and you don't have long-term care insurance, you're going to spend somewhere between $8,000 and $13,000 a month. That's one problem. The other problem is, think of a married couple, and one spouse, and you've got married couple, they're typically in their 80s and they're on one income. So think of it this way: I have one income, and I have one household. Now I'm putting a spouse in a long-term care facility, so I have one income. Now I have two households. One spouse goes into a long-term care facility. It's going to cost me $12,000 or $13,000 a month, or private or semi-private room. The other spouse is at home. But while she typically is at home, putting her husband in, her retirement income is being depleted. So her likelihood of entering a nursing home prematurely is enhanced, while she's spending out their retirement income on him until he income qualifies for Medi-Cal. Her only option is divorce. There is no other option unless she has no long-term care insurance. So these programs, for better or for worse, are, yes, they're a Band-Aid, but they serve a very specific purpose in helping these people extend their independence. And that's ultimately the goal.
So if I do your math, 16,000 a year divided by the 12 months, that's about 12 or 1,300 bucks a month, yes?
It's about $1,444 a month.
$1,400 a month. So that's the Band-Aid versus an $8,000 or $10,000
A month.
Yeah, okay, I got it. Any other questions? No? Let's open it to the public. Any member of the public wishing to speak on item 11A, come on up. Come on, John. Everybody gets a turn.
hello, John.
This is part of what I've objected to for a long time. I remember 12, 13, 15 years ago, there was a plan by John McCain and Senator Ted Kennedy to get long-term health care for everybody. Aid, but everybody would have to chip in a little bit of money. And we just keep going through all of this stuff, and you know, we just can't get anything. The guy was up here talking about giving subsidies to the Obamacare thing. Well, you know, it's not a subsidy. It's just it's a loan that they're doing. They're not paying for any of this stuff. And until we get the thing, and you said the money we put in, that Turlock put in, that was ARPA money, right? Where's the ARPA money from? It's printed money. There's no money there, so it's gone, right? So what are you going to do? I mean, that's the problem with all these ARPA things. Turlock times 10,000 cities are getting this kind of money. It's temporary money, printed, not funded, not there, and whatever. I remember the things I got free internet for 2 years. You know, I'm one of those low-income people and all that, but so what? What good does that do? What good is if you don't have, you know, funding from all these things and paying for it? But nobody wants to pay a little bit of money into the pot to get a funding source and everything else. And Medicare and Social Security, they're going down the tubes too. I mean, because there's not enough money being paid in. So it's It's just another thing. It's a great program. It's absolutely a marvelous program. I'm lucky that when I've been sick, I have friends, I have family, I have people from church, I have people, neighbors, and everybody so far. But, you know, I don't know how long that's going to last and everything like that. But at some point, I hope I don't have to. But that's what it's about. Until this country wakes up and says, you know, we all got to chip in. Everybody's got to chip in. The corporations, you know, everybody's got to chip in something to get these programs going. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Jackson, come on back. Okay, Mr. Reap, just cut her off. Oh, just kidding.
So, as most of you know, I work in family practice, and so I'm kind of in the middle of this on a regular basis. And my patient demographic tends to be these folks that are in between. I have enough money and I have help to pay for these things. And I can tell you, I'm not permitted to talk about specifics because of patient privacy, but I can tell you that this program has made a huge difference for, I could give you 5 families right now where the services provided allowed them to stay in their home. So,
Thank you. Does anybody else want to come up before Ms. Jackson comes up? Come on.
So I'm still going to be positive because I completely agree with John. We just need people to address the situation. Other countries, like 25 other countries, can do this. Why can't we? So I appreciate Mr. Lewis. And I guess I'm very lucky because my parents have long-term health insurance. But my father's 89 and my mom is 80. I'm outing them right now. Don't tell them. Don't worry, they don't watch TV like this. But it is really difficult. When you touched on if they are not of your ethnicity, that is so true.
Mm-hmm.
Because walking precincts, I found a guest home within my walking distance from my home, like 8 blocks, when my twins were infants. And that's, my grandmother stayed at a private nursing home. It was amazing. And we're Portuguese, and she gained like 10 pounds in the first 2 months. I mean, real food. It was like a family. And they don't have those anymore because of the changes. I mean, we don't have a urologist in town. Turlock Imaging closed, December 1st or December 3rd? So that's one thing. Could you put that on a list of recruitment? Okay. When John and Jeannie Ferrari were before, I'm looking at my time. Okay, I better stop talking. Let me follow the thing. Okay, I want to know how people in West Turlock, like my parents, get this, but we already found a solution. It's and I agree that people don't want help. It's very frustrating. The senior to senior program, I may have a Girl Scout who needs a project to do because I lived in Marshall, Illinois, a town of 4,000 people outside of Terre Haute, Indiana. My friend worked for the PD. She was like jack of all trades, but she would call a list of people every 2 or 3 days to make sure they were okay. That's what you can do in a small town. And I believe in Turlock, if they work through the senior center or churches, we could do that. The other issue is you have a house, right? Or we have houses that we're selling. 40% of the men at We Care are over 60. And I'm going to say this really quickly. I actually witnessed a son dropping off his dad on Sunday night. And I just stood there. And if I'm usually pretty sassy and I'll say something, but I just was like, how can you do this? He was giving him one of those free phones. And the man, I'm not going to say his name, but I know his name. He's been hit by a car. He's been in the hospital. He's in a wheelchair. You should see him eat. It's painful, but he does it on his own. But it's like, if we could get a house and we could get 4 of the men, or if we could get the men that are older to live in that house and somehow get it paid for, I was like, we could do that. But it's like, these men don't have a house to go to. And how do you get first and last? That's $4,500 to $6,000 to get a home. So it's just, I don't know, trying to be positive. But yes, I agree with John. Thank you.
Come on over.
I agree with everything that they said. My name is Rosalind Noble. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I used to work in Stanislaus County. I now work in Merced County, but I live here. I live a few streets away, actually. And I would like to highlight the fact that supportive services like this that can go into the home and can serve the elderly and the medically indigent can really help the upstream services. I work in severe mental illness, and when we have to extend all of those county services to everyone in their home, in addition to not having a home and all the families that support them, the system gets extremely strained. So if there are services that are extremely cost effective and comprehensive that can support people in their homes, that would reduce loneliness, depression, suicide rates, my teams, which are currently the crisis response teams that also exist in this county, would have a lot less to do, and we could all reach more people. So please do this.
Thank you.
Also, what you fund now is going to take care of you later.
Anybody else wishing to speak on this item? Yes, you can. Can I close public comment first?
Sure.
Okay, public comment is closed. Go ahead, Dr. Borrego.
I just wanted to say, Ms. Jackson just mentioned houses. Just so you know, We Care has 2 fourplexes that were rehabbed and given to We Care by the city in this moving the houses forward for low income or first time, not really home buyers, because these are rentals for people, short-term rentals. And they're part of the RFP for one of the 2 left that we have.
Thank you.
So,
Okay, what is the will of council?
Well, I'd just like to make some comments before
Oh, yes,
we
sorry,
make
comments
a
first.
motion.
Comments
but,
first.
You know, I really appreciate you coming to speak about this. There's obviously great need, and you know, I've gotten to see this struggle with aging family and caregiver services in my family, not in this area. We are not a benefactor of this program, and I'm really grateful that the city of Turlock has been able to keep this program going for the 3 years. But you know, where I'm struggling with this is that we made this commitment as a pilot program, and now, you know, 3 years and $1 million into this program, I think that the city's contribution has shown that there is a great need, and we have shown that there is a viable program that could be put together. But I'm also reminded that, you know, about a year ago, this council unanimously supported a memorandum of understanding that we were going to use the remainder of our COVID relief funds in some very specific policy areas: public safety, IT, different infrastructure, facilities projects, business assistant programs, and I'm reading off of our MOU right now. So for me, I feel like with these last remaining funds that we have for this COVID relief, that I would like to stay true to what we said we were going to do with this, and I think that this is the time to pass this program off to our partners at Legacy Health, and you know, I hope that you can continue to do the good work of this program. So that's my comment.
Anything? Okay, so for me, I need some more information. I need to know, and you're not going to be able to give it to me tonight because for what I'm going to ask you for on the number of people to divide out the dollars. I don't know where you're at, but I would ask to table if we could, because I want some more information, and I also want to look at the MOU that Councilmember Abram just brought up to see, because I don't know where we're at with ARPA funds, and I don't have enough information to make a vote for myself tonight.
Madam Vice Mayor, can I just ask, are you asking for like the unduplicated number of patients served?
That and a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit more info with me as well. I think that can help us make a decision. I know you guys have a deadline, but if we can maybe table this.
Is there a deadline? What is it?
The funds run out by the end of January.
Okay, so
Let me double check with the sharecare.com tomorrow on the dollars just to be sure.
Did you have something to say? Mr. Petrilakis, can we just table to the next meeting?
If you want to do that one, why don't you just continue it to the next meeting?
Just continue it to do you want a motion for that, or?
Yeah.
Okay, is there a motion to continue to the next meeting? Sorry.
So moved.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, there's a motion and a second.
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lewis. Nice to see you. We are on 11B. Who's up from Muni Services? Mr. Fisher, it's your turn again. What do we got? Oh, thank you.
Good evening. Tonight, the action we're recommending is approving an agreement with Guidepost Solutions in the amount not to exceed $165,300 for camera system design services and adopt a resolution appropriating the funds from 120, 217, and 420. The city is undertaking an initiative to enhance public safety, deter criminal activity, and support long-term infrastructure planning through the development of a comprehensive camera system for the plan for city-owned facilities. I think when we got together and we looked at this, there was a lot of things. We have cameras in some of our parks, most of our community parks, and we realized that they're not always in the right place and they don't always record the right things. And there's a lot of interconnectivity problems that we have in getting them back to PD. So the facilities that we considered are parks, wells, storm basins, and other critical city locations. Rather, installing them on a site-by-site basis, which you're currently doing, the project is intended to develop standardized, like a strategic framework for all of this, so that we have a plan moving forward as we put in, say the Montana parks, so we have a good backbone that we can do. One of the things we also realized is we lack the infrastructure to connect all of these things seamlessly into our systems. So the city issued RFP 25006 for professional camera system design services. 2 firms submitted proposal. We evaluated them, and Guidepost was determined the most qualified firm based on the experience and technical expertise and the ability to meet our timeline. The scope includes assessing all the city facilities, looking at the coverage needs, recommending the appropriate technologies, and developing a design standard that we can use moving forward.
Thank you.
So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Who's got questions for him?
What's the timeline to get the plan back so you can start implementation?
90 days.
That's fast.
We provided them quite a bit of information on the parks on the front end, and I think it makes it a little easier. Yeah.
Councilmember? Okay, let's open it to the public. Anybody in the public wishing to speak on 11B? Nobody. All right, closing public comment. What is the will of council?
Move to approve.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. All right, and moving on, 11C. Who's doing this one?
I have that honor.
Oh, outstanding. Well, you're on, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Before you this evening, the council, as item 11C, is an urgency ordinance that would temporarily pause the establishment, expansion, or relocation of smoke shop uses in the city while the city staff evaluates alternatives to address documented public health, safety, and welfare concerns. Last month, the Turlock Police Department conducted a joint operation with the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration, also known as CDTFA. Neither of those are memorable in any way. I've tried. Has to be written down. The operation documented widespread legal non-compliance of smoke shops, including large quantities of prohibited flavor, tobacco, and nicotine products. These are primarily directed at young people. THC-labeled products offered for retail sale, and retail and distribution patterns indicated systemic issues, ongoing issues, not isolated or inadvertent violations or mistakes. These conditions present a current and immediate threat to the public health, safety, and welfare, particularly to young people. The ordinance on tonight's agenda is a temporary urgency ordinance adopted under the appropriate government code sections. Its purpose is to temporarily pause new, expanded, or relocated smoke shop uses while city staff evaluates zoning and other regulatory requirements that would be adopted if the council chooses to under the city's police power in the future. Why is the moratorium necessary? Well, existing zoning and other regulatory standards do not adequately address in Turlock the concentration of smoke shop uses, location compatibility with surrounding neighborhoods and sensitive uses, and the scale and intensity of operations as demonstrated by the December operation and what they found in that operation. Without interim controls under this urgency ordinance, additional smoke shops could be opened before the city has an opportunity to modernize its zoning and other regulations, complicating enforcement and long-term land use planning. So what does the moratorium do? What it does is, again, temporarily prohibit establishment, expansion, or relocation of smoke shops. It basically preserves the status quo while regulatory options are being evaluated. It does not close any existing lawful businesses, and it does not prohibit license renewals for existing smoke shops. The urgency ordinance is effective immediately, unlike most ordinances which have a first and second reading, and it lasts for 45 days. The Government Code Section 65858 and 36937 expressly recognize that interim ordinances may be adopted and extended when necessary to protect public health, safety, and welfare. The ordinance is designed to give the city time to study and develop permanent solutions, not to serve as any sort of permanent restriction on its own. City staff has already begun studying regulatory and zoning options and will continue that work during the moratorium period. An important procedural part of this is it might have a zoning component and non-zoning components, recommendations coming back for the municipal code. For those that affect the zoning ordinances of the city, those must be reviewed by the Planning Commission, and which makes a recommendation to the City Council. That affects the expected timeline of the moratorium. Your initial adoption tonight under state law, the moratorium will be good for 45 days. Under this 45-day period, obviously staff will continue evaluating zoning and operational standards. Proposed zoning ordinances will be prepared for the Planning Commission consideration and their recommendation to your council. This is a legal requirement. Because of the required procedures involved in that, primarily the public noticing and hearing requirements, it's highly unlikely, probably impossible, that the city could finalize the zoning changes within the initial 45-day period. When it comes back to you, it has to have a first and second reading. It goes through the ordinary system. As a result, it's likely the council will be asked to extend the moratorium, which is expressly contemplated by state law. I expect that will come to you in the second meeting in February for the extension so we can finish up the work. This effort provides, in short, a measured and temporary step. It allows the city to proceed deliberately and transparently rather than reactively, and the goal is to return to the council with clear enforceable regulations that protect public health, safety, and welfare while providing predictability for businesses that operate as smoke shops. As an urgency measure, it does require a four-fifths vote of the council, which for your 5-member council means it requires 4 affirmative votes for passage. That concludes my oral report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I didn't catch it in the staff report, but when TPD and what was it, CDTFA?
Very good, yeah, better than me.
I'm
Yes,
reading
very
off
good.
of it.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't remember that. Beyond, in this operation, beyond just seizing the product, was there any other enforcement options available?
The enforcement is with the state agency. We didn't do it locally because we want to have the ordinances in place that we're talking about before we do that.
So were there no fines, or citations and or fines levied when you found contraband, shall we say?
There were some levied by the state agency, yes. Okay. Yeah. And this is this would be the second time that we've taken this action in conjunction with CDTFA. So we started back in 2023, did a joint operation with them. In 2024, we sent out a first and second notice notifying these agencies that we would be back because we did see a significant problem in 2023. We did the operation here in 2025, the most recent operation, and they've ignored everything that we've sent out. It continues to be a very significant problem for us with flavored tobaccos.
Was the scope of the problem same, worse, better than 2 years ago?
It's the same, the exact same. They still have marijuana products, still have flavored tobacco products, When we went out and started hitting these businesses with enforcement, 2 of them closed down during business hours, which is unusual. So word starts to spread that we're out there doing this enforcement. But you would think with the first operation, with the products that have been seized, with the citations that were levied by the state of California, and then the first and second notices that the city was taking this seriously, we'd be back, that that would change some behavior. And we saw of the shops that we went into that the behavior was not changed at all.
My 14-year-old nephew can walk about a half a mile from his house in my district and pick up flavored vapes and mushrooms, psilocybin, and a half a dozen other illegal things right now, today, at 3 or 4 different smoke shops in my district. It's not getting any better, Chief. Okay, let's open it to the public. Anybody in the public wishing to speak on this item? Okay, closing public comment. What's the will of council?
I will move to approve, and I wanted to remind everyone that, the ad hoc committee on cannabis, we delved into some of this, and this came up that the city spends considerable amount of time and resources to regulate 4 cannabis shops, and yet we have all of this other. So this is definitely a policy need. Move to approve again.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Abram.
Yes.
Councilmember Vixel.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz.
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips.
Yes.
Thank you. Passes with a 4-0. Okay, before I get to council member comments, Dr. Borrego.
Thank you. 2 things. 1, 10 units to We Care. It's the multiple units on a piece of property, so that's important. And I mistakenly forgot to introduce somebody you all know well. Chief Chris Jelinek is with us tonight. He is coming back to Turlock. It's funny, he and I talked today. I can tell you that he spent the last year living in Italy, and I don't feel sorry for him at all.
No, we don't.
Don't be a hater.
And he is, he's as candid as I am. That's a good thing for me. But I just wanted to welcome back in. When I was looking at where do I find the things to talk about him, I got to tell you, every place you look up his name, he retired here, and then he retired again, and then he retired again. And so he's just a multiple flunky at retiring. And here he is joining us, unretiring again. So welcome, and I am pleased to have had the chance to visit today and look forward to working with you.
She is not at all jealous that you got to live in Italy for a while. Councilmember Abram. Nothing?
Happy New Year.
Chief Jelinek, welcome back. So happy to have you back. And in case y'all didn't know, the 59th annual Turlock Swap Meet is January 24th and 25th. And I think that's going to bring about an influx of about 15,000 people into Turlock city limits. So we'll pick up those TOT taxes. Councilmember, nothing. Madam Clerk.
No closed session.
No closed session. With that, meeting adjourned.